Hi, everyone. Welcome to Domain Sherpa. We've got a brand new Domain Sherpa review right now featuring Braden, Shane, and Drew. We kick off the show today talking about the upcoming Super Bowl, and as an avid Eagles fan, I'm hoping my squad can pull it out, but I know it won't be easy. Either way, Drew and Braden don't have too much patience for that conversation, so we move on pretty quickly to the domain game featuring Q33.com, COA.com, and Cockatoo.com. The COA.com domain sale in particular gives the panel an opportunity to dig into three-character.com sales and some interesting thoughts and insights around that. And then we've got the NameJetGonnaJet segment sponsored by NameJet, and we talk about some domains coming up for auction, including storemanager.com, inclusive.org, balloonflowers.com, and doubleyourmoney.com. And then the Sherpas talk about communicating in the domain space and how people will reach out to them for insight, but then take it personally when they don't like what the Sherpas have to tell them. Spoiler alert, don't be that guy or girl. But along those same lines, if you do have a domain name that you do want us to talk about and you want us to give some insight into what we think, just let us know and we might be able to talk about it live on the show. And remember, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can also watch the video version at DomainSherpa.com and on our YouTube channel at ds.tv. You can also listen to the shows on Apple and Spotify and the other podcast platforms as well. Also, we now have the transcripts available on the site, and we're also integrated with Muse.ai, which gives some additional insight and search capability around our shows. So definitely check it out. And big shout out to Dan.com, the #1 place in the world to buy and sell your domains with a special platform made for domain investors. With that, it's now time to get into this episode of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains and fly, Eagles, fly. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. J-On, a.k.a. Sherpa Winfrey, and I'm the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is the Domain Sherpa Review, where we get into the minds of successful domain investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become more successful domain name investors ourselves. These are the experts. We are coming up on the Super Bowl, by the way, rocking my Eagles gear. Fly, Eagles, fly, go Birds. Let's go. I'm so nervous for the game. We're going to talk about that. But first, let's get into what are the 4 segments to a Domain Sherpa review. We've got the grand opening. That's where I intro the Sherpas. We talk about what's going on with them, some related things, unrelated things, maybe drop an AKA. Segment 2, we get into the domain game. That's where we hear about what the Sherpas recently bought or sold. Everybody guesses, we keep score, give out some swag to the winner. Maybe you get some swag. 2023, the year of the swag. Segment 3, we got NameJetGonnaJet, sponsored by our friends at NameJet. Normally, I'm showing the NameJet shirt. Today, I'm showing the Eagles Super Bowl champ from back in the 5 years ago, literally almost today. I'm hoping it's good juju for this game coming up, but not Juju Smith-Schuster, who plays for the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying?
Move on to something somebody cares about.
What do you mean? Who doesn't care about this? This is the Super Bowl we're talking about.
You know what?
We're talking about America's team, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Bunch of grown men running around on a football field. Like, I'd rather worry about my own business.
Oh no! You know what?
If you hear about domains, just skip ahead about 20 minutes.
No. It's all good. It's all good. Look, hey, I got to give love to my Eagles fans. We got to try to bring it home, man. It's a big game. It's a big game.
You only have a chance because of all the Bama players. Just always remember that.
Imagine if you put that much passion into things that made money.
Oh man,
making
that
money
hurts.
for billionaires that own the team.
Oh, that hurts my heart, man. You know what I'm saying? It's come on, we're putting in work. We're putting in work all over the place. Just like the Philadelphia Eagles trying to bring home a Super Bowl, the good guys, against the evil Kansas. I heard the Kansas City Chiefs. I heard they were stealing food from food banks. And doing some just general terrible stuff.
The more you interrupt, the longer it goes.
I got mad love for Andy Reid, though, for what it's worth. So
move on. We're done.
Fine. You know what? I should have brought Miller on the show. Miller would talk football with me.
No, you should just do a separate show with Miller. You guys can sit there and do a 5-hour episode talking about football. That's great.
All right. It sounds like a rabbit hole to me. All right. In segment four.
Miller doesn't know anything about domains. You guys might as well talk football.
Oh, snap. That's what I'm talking about. Let's talk
Hey,
the smack.
don't talk about the biggest broker in the world. Like
He's the Kansas City Chiefs. He's the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go.
427 years of experience, bro.
Patrick Mahomes. He's Patrick Mahomes combined with Joe Montana, combined with Tony Gonzalez, all the greatest Chiefs to ever play, combined with Travis Kelce. All right. Hey, segment 4 is grand closing. Last but not least, where we talk about anything we haven't already covered, what's going on in the domain space, looking at the market trends, current events, and allowing our guests to mention or promote anything they want to talk about that we have not talked about already. But
and segment 5 is domains.
Segment 5, we will finally, for you domain maxis out there, we will get into the sweet stuff. But no, big
Billy,
shout out.
Can you just cut everything up until 5 minutes from now?
Oh man, look guys, I'm trying to bring the heat. You said 2 shows ago, you said I was at 0.75 energy or whatever it was. So I'm every show.
Now you're at the right energy, just on the wrong frequency.
You're on the wrong show.
Oh, yeah. It's like you got the right energy. You're just talking about the wrong shit.
Barstool Sports is in the studio next door.
Hey, man, I have a Barstool Sports Eagles, Slim Reaper, Devontae Smith, who is an Alabama guy. You know what I'm saying?
That sounds like something you should see a doctor about.
Oh, man. All right. You know what, man? I love you guys. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I come here for. This is what everybody tunes in for. This is the good stuff. And shout out to Miller, because like I said, he would be down to talk all this good stuff. We'd be talking prop bets for the Super Bowl. We'd be trying to help you all.
Exactly. Go talk about it on that other show. That other show.
That other show.
It should also be called That Other Show.
That Other Show. Hey, if you haven't checked out our new reboot of Down the Rabbit Hole, make sure you do that. We get in, we talk some pretty fun stuff about AI and some other things. We got some pretty cool stuff coming there, and we got some other cool stuff happening here on Domain Sherpa. We'll be dropping an Off the Market Forever shortly that we've already recorded with our boy James Isles and Chris Zeiker. So expect to see that coming soon as well. And but I'm going to keep it right now with the people that are on this show. You know what I'm saying? With the experts that are here today. Let me go ahead and introduce the squad. Over to my right, starting at wide receiver, number 21 in the program, but number 1 in our hearts, it is my boy, Shane Culture, a.k.a. Sugar Shane, a.k.a. Honey Shane, a.k.a. Mike Rowe, a.k.a. Blaming on the Shane, a.k.a. House of Shane, a.k.a. Blue Oyster Culture. It's too many AKAs when I start stumbling over them. You know what I mean? AKA doing it for the culture, AKA in Shane in the membrane, AKA in Shane in the blockchain. What's up, man? How you doing, dude? What's going on?
I'm doing great. I can talk football too. Like I'll tell you, I'm here.
Who won the fantasy? Who won the Apes League fantasy football? Who won? Did you win?
Why, Shane? Why?
What do you think?
Did you win?
No, Carson Turner. Everybody knows Carson Turner. Carson Turner.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
The Mega Mutant sale of $1.4 million.
Oh, man. And he wins the fantasy football league, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For some guys, it's just hashtag blessed. You feel me? All right. Well, let's keep it moving. Down to my lower right, we got my boy starting at tailback. It is the one and only Braden Pollock, a.k.a. Tony Stark, a.k.a. Benjamin Button, a.k.a. Eat, Bray, Love, a.k.a. Braden Statham, a.k.a. Braden Pollockton, the Archduke of Calabasas, a.k.a. It's not that your domain is worthless. It's just that it's worth less. You know what I'm saying? Managing expectations since back in the 1980s. What is going on?
Managing concessions, but giving no concessions.
There you go. I like it. See, that's what's up. Get your popcorn out. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm all right. I think next time when you say, start time, and it's 7 a.m. here. Well, it was, and we're not starting until 7:30. I'm just gonna sleep in.
Hey, man. Get your beauty rest. You know what I'm saying? I know that's part of the secret.
Why have I been here all this time?
Oh, come on, man. We were having a great offline conversation. We were talking about music. You know what I'm saying? We were going off on that tangent.
You started talking about football.
I know. Hey, I get it, man. I know it's, not everybody likes the same stuff. That's the thing. But there
I
are
actually
things.
love the sport. I just don't like the entertainment of it anymore. Like it just, it's just fundamentally either you are like
a fan,
either you're monetizing or you're being monetized, right? And it's the whole thing is drama and politics and bullshit and fucking I'm just over it. I had zero interest.
Oh,
show me an
man.
amazing, like a great college football game. I'm in.
Okay.
Love the actual sport, but I just over it. I had zero
The
interest anymore.
commercialization has
Fucking a
made
bunch
Drew.
of rich fucking athletes, and they all fucking think that they're the hottest things in sliced bread. Shut the fuck up. Take that ball, run down the field. That's your job.
Oh, man. Did you just tell them to shut up and dribble? Did you just tell them to shut up and dribble? Come on, old man.
100%. Everybody.
Come on.
Definitely not going to be. You better hope the AI doesn't pick that shit up.
Yeah, come on,
Listen,
man.
I'm just over. I don't want commercialized sports. That doesn't
actually. Yeah, your issue is not.
He wants to go to a 5th grade B team girls basketball game.
Well, for what it's worth, Drew's not talking politics. He's talking about the piece of it that's talking about like how it has become so commercialized. Everybody's all about their brand. Well, you know what it is.
It's about flash and glamour and branding and commercial.
Here's what that is that
sponsorships and all that stuff used to be secondary. It used to be like, you didn't even bring that shit on the court. It was like, or on the field. It was like people knew that you represent, it's like,
well, I think
the only part of Nike you saw in Jordan was like, he had his shoes on. That was it. Like, it was like,
yeah, I feel
he probably had a few commercials.
Well,
yeah, but that's different. That's separate.
Maybe a Wheaties box.
I think it's this. Here's what you're talking about, right? It's that sports have always been a business, but now it is, with the 24-hour news cycle and they dramatize everything and there's all this stuff and players, to their credit, have recognized their value, their brand. They know it's important because they're like, hey, if I'm here because it's about the money, then let it be about the money. And I think that has, it does. But even college now, you have NIL deals. I mean, this is probably a whole nother topic in a tangent we're not going to go down. I will spare everybody that.
All right, let's go. Moving on. The whole point was that I don't want to talk about football because I don't care.
Yes, and then we talked about it. This is what I'm saying.
It still comes back.
Let's go. Last but certainly not least, below me, we got my boy starting at quarterback, Andrew Rosner, a.k.a. Morpheus.
Did he just say blow me instead of below me?
No, I said below me. I said baloney. I said baloney because that's what I hear coming out of that lower right box. You know what I'm saying?
You definitely said it, right?
AI is definitely picking up blow me.
No, it's not. We're going to look at the transcript. 100%. All right, blow 100%. Me. Blow me. We got a.k.a. Morpheus, a.k.a. the Dirk Diggler of Digital Assets, a.k.a. the Sniper Bob Lee Swagger, a.k.a. Drew. Drew got what I need, a.k.a. every Rosner has its thorn, a.k.a. Drew Turn, a.k.a. never going to give Drew up, a.k.a. Graybeard, the Domain Pirate, a.k.a. Cancel Adams, a.k.a. Level 14. What's up, man? Welcome to the show, you cantankerous domain pirate.
Drew's gonna make such a good grandpa when he's like 75. He's just gonna complain about everything.
Oh, he's that dude. He's like already doing. He's like, back in the day when I used to watch that football.
No, not at all. I'm not gonna. No. I'm gonna be so high as grandpa, like I won't complain about anything.
I'm gonna be like, what's up, kids? What's good? Yeah. What's happening? What you guys got for grandpa? Sing me a song. I'll give you $1. But all right. So all right. Well, here we are now. I don't know what do you all want to talk about? You want to talk about some domains? We can get into the domain game. Are there any teams to discuss?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get right into the domain game. Shane, what you got? You got to buy or sell?
I got somebody bought it and somebody sold it. So I'm gonna talk about a domain at auction that went off that I thought was pretty interesting. Again, I'm a little hesitant on giving my buy. Just like it is putting out now with AI and everything is putting what I paid right out in center. So I think this is still a good learning thing and it's good for you guys to pick. So the name is Q33.com.
Q33.
And this is and I'll say it's an auction, just to be fair, that it's not a retail sale. It's an auction.
Got you. So it's an auction sale. Can you tell us which platform?
No.
All right.
No. It auctions auction. Doesn't matter.
Q33. All right. Get your phones out. So the first domain is Q33, which is an interesting one. A lot of these domains that kind of follow these certain like kind of weird patterns. Two letters, two numbers, things like that. So we got a letter, two numbers. Q33.
And I will say it doesn't have backlinks. Like I'm not fooling you by saying it's like an existing domain. There's nothing. It's just straight raw domain.
Okay, Q33. What did it sell for? All right. All right.
No Googling fingers.
No. All right. I got me. Let me know when y'all are ready.
Q33.
Q33.
I have not been following this market, but I'll take a stab.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, that's what I said. It's an interesting,
Well, I got something behind it too that's interesting to show you. It's the same day, a different number.
Okay. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and pivot. What you got?
What? That's wild.
Yo,
that's crazy.
For those of you who are not watching the show but actually listening,
that is wild because I don't know if I've ever done this and not put 888. Almost every single time I do 888. This is the first time I ever put 333.
Yeah, so
ever.
Drew's got $1,333. I have $3,333, and Braden's got $13,333.
That is fucking wild.
What's up?
That is really wild.
Which proves we have absolutely no idea.
We are all over the map. All we're gonna do is use
there is an underlying energy current there that caused us to all put 333. That's some weird shit.
Well, and we all
that's why I brought it to the
weird
table.
shit.
It's crazy, huh? There you go.
That's wild.
We got a pretty big spread. All right, Shane, talk to us. What is
that's why. That's why. It's because it was Q33, right?
Yeah.
It came
so
through,
that's what
I put it out there in the universe.
I wish the price was ended in a round number, but it sold for $22,000 at auction.
What?
Whoa, 22,000.
Is that an SEO?
Braden.
No, it's raw. And here's the other thing.
You're tripping.
So the same day, 33Q.com went up for auction.
Much less.
Isn't that a financial disclosure thing?
I've never heard of it.
33Q.
And that went
10Q.
It went for 83.63. So it went for less, but it kind of shows you the number letter versus letter number. But the repeating 33 is huge. That's you double up that number on the back, it's always 5 figures. Always.
Really?
So
always.
Interesting. So where did it sell? Which
GoDaddy.
And is that Chinese buyers buying that shit, or who's?
That's who it tends to end up in. Yeah, almost always.
Huh.
Yeah,
that's that's
3 characters rare quote. But that letter repeating number is just like a CVCV. It doesn't sell at retail very often, but it just bangs at auction.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, and this goes back to what I was saying. Like, when you have the different buckets that these names fall into, and especially as it overlays into the Chinese market, kind of to your point, right? And that's what I was saying. Like when you have these letter number repeating numbers, it's favorable numbers. It's not a 4. So it's those kinds of things can drive value. It's interesting that market still thrives like that. I've been out of that space for a minute now, and haven't really been paying much attention.
Too, like a 2 character or 3 number .cc still kills it. Still kills it, which is unusual. But where I say this is if somebody presents you a portfolio and they're like you guys and think it's worth a couple $1,000s, take it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, because I guess then the question becomes and I've always wondered this, when will we see the use of these domains, right? Because I mean, they trade in certain ways, almost like these collectibles and stuff like that, or they're almost operate as stores of value.
They trade like a store of value. That's all trade is.
But they are a beautiful brand. Like it's a very memorable, and yes, they're substitutable. But Q33, those are just nice, quick, fast. Like it sounds like a media company right out of the gate. In my opinion.
or a football play.
That
it's actually
or a football like an athlete whose name starts with Q, like Quentin, who let's say was a running back or a small forward wearing number 33. Q33 could be an athlete's brand.
Like
100%.
Cristiano Ronaldo's CR7.
Exactly, same exact thing. Yeah.
But I think you're overthinking.
And then Tom Brady's got that shit TB12 or something, right?
Yeah, TB12.
It's a better brand in China than it is here. That's the bottom line. Yeah. Because they remember numbers differently, and it's just like culturally the way they're brought up with numbers and math. Why Asians are better at math than we are. It just
math. Who needs math?
What?
I agree, and that's a bigger market too. So
bigger market. It's just a better brand. It's always going to be worth more in Asian countries, but particularly China, than it is going to be in the U.S.
Yeah, I think the key is so where do you see? There was a point where there were apps that were tracking different categories of domains, similar to the way like I said, the Apple Stocks app, and I think that as some of that had cooled off from where we saw the big bubble that took place back in like 2015, is it just auction platforms? I mean, there were a point in time where I remember we were trying to get as much intel and information as we could from random message boards, Chinese domaining message boards, and we were on WeChat and all this kind of stuff, trying to just understand the flow of these markets and all of that kind of stuff. Is it now? Do you just see it in the auction platforms? Shane, are you seeing any?
Honestly, so Travis writes a script that every GoDaddy name goes. If you go to DSAD every day, he posts the results, and you just hit the button and sort it by price. And every day I look at that, and you can sort it by however you want to sort it. You can sort it, but every day I just look at it and then check the price, and I'm like, oh shit, why is that name? And a lot of it's SEO. Like SEO is killing it right now. The SEO names and backlinks are just receiving. I mean, it's not unheard of $30,000 a day on those SEO names if the backlinks are strong. But when I look at it in Toggle, every day I learn. Like, that's how you do. Do I track it and have a little tracker on my computer? No. I just look at it every day. And after a while, you start thinking, okay, this seems to be doing well now. Or there's maybe a portfolio that's going to market. Like, there was a media time. Remember media? I don't know if it's last year or the year before. Media names were just killing it. Anything with media at the end was good for 4 figures plus. And right now, if you just notice over the last 2 months, the 3-character number, letter, or letter, number have been doing really well, doing better than it was.
Yep.
So, okay. So that's how I do it. I'm not real professional when it comes to tracking, and I'm not that guy. But you have to look at sales every day.
Sure.
And that's it. And since Travis puts it on a plate right in front of me every day, I always use it.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And data. Can't make jars without clay. Shout out to Sherlock Holmes. All right, that's what's good. All right, well, as soon as Braden decides to rejoin us.
Yeah, the sun was like coming in the window.
I saw it hitting you on your chest, and you were starting to get a little burn, Mark.
Get put on some sunblock or something.
He's like, yo, I knew it. He's got that vampire blood. That's how he stays so young. You know what I'm saying? He's like, he's talking about getting up too early. What he meant was he's staying up too late.
His pec was just starting to swell up from the heat.
Catch on fire.
Right. So, all right, well, that's cool. So Braden gets the point, and then that goes to him. Then what do you got, man, as far as a buy or sell? What you got?
I sold COA.com.
Oh,
nice. COA.
Man.
Cash on arrival.
No, certificate of authenticity.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, probably. That's
COA. All right. So, shit.
Man.
Oof, as a sale, we got to think about this. What did he sell it for?
Man.
All right. I got my number. Y'all got your numbers?
I got my number.
All right, flip it. Ooh, all right. We got a big old spread. I'm light. All right, I got 150K. For me, Drew's at 488,000 and Shane's at 800,333. We should have kept it moving.
I didn't get to participate last time.
So, all right. So I'm super light. Instant regret.
Story of life.
Well, man,
Shane, you said 800. You think I got $800,000?
Hey, the guy that bought who's the card?
I've sold quite a few 3letter.coms in the 7 figures.
Yeah, but the guy that bought the card rating system, the PSA, that guy has been spending bank on anything to do with grading cards, authenticating cards. Like, that man is spending a lot of money. Maybe you caught him.
All right, let's see.
He also owns a Mets.
My guess is Drew gets the point. Baseball. I should have been more. I was going to go in like the 250 range. And then for some reason, I don't know.
No, I mean,
I'm gonna hold it up.
All right, yeah, let's do it. That's good.
I purposely brought this one up just so Drew can give me shit about it.
Oh, look at that! What? I was right after all. What? Why'd you do that?
Hold on. That was a terrible decision.
Okay.
Did you let Shane broker that one?
Straight up. There's no way around it. That was a terrible decision.
Thank you very much. I was really on the fence about this. I know I sold it low.
Oh, so for the folks, I'm sorry, for the folks listening, not watching, it was 140,000 was the sale price. So that was what he showed us on the phone. Go ahead, Brandon.
And I think for the first time, it sold to an investor through a broker. It was $140,000 offer, which is low, but I wouldn't pay $140,000 for that name.
I'd get pretty close. Like today, I wouldn't pay 140.
Another investor.
18 months ago, I would have paid 100 easy.
Yeah.
I paid for example, I paid DOA.com. I don't remember what I bought that for, but
it was a
lot. Yeah. And then I sold that, I don't remember what, but that's a great
story. Thanks.
Yeah.
But even that story was dead on arrival.
We're above what you sold this shit for. That's the point. But I don't know. I feel pretty strongly that was just very low. Very low.
It was low. However, so my logic was that A, I wouldn't pay that much. B, I've had it for 8 years and I paid like 30 grand for it. And C, I just want to stack some cash right now because there's deals coming up, and there is.
Oh,
and I think so I think there's a couple of interesting points here, right? So like you said, you've owned it for 8 years, you still made 5x on the name, right? It was the kind of thing where you sold it to a domain investor and still made pretty good money to a domain investor. So over this period of time, you look at the appreciation of value with a name like that. And then I think everybody, and then I think everyone would.
Oxley? I don't know who bought it.
And I think the other piece is that I think we can all acknowledge that had that been an end user, then you're selling it for twice what you sold it for, right? In Shane's case, he thinks you would have sold it for 6x what you sold it for.
I just think that market. I think authentic product right now is the key to everything. With so much shit out there and authenticating, and StockX exists because of it. The COA is a way better name than StockX. So but anyway, hey, that's okay. That makes sense too. Like there's reasons why we all do what we're doing, and behind it, and the key is, do we make profit and keep rolling? That's all it comes down to. You can't hit a home run every time, and that wasn't even a single. That was a double or a triple. So
it was still a first down.
Average men cannot hit home runs all the time.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Some of us
and other guys bring in the fence and think that's a home run. Like Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron, remember?
Go outside the domain industry and be like, hey, so there's this investment made 5 times.
Exactly. You can't do that. Like that's like you tell them you got
only
20%.
4x that thing. Oh man, what a loser.
Yeah, no.
Well, and I think that's some of the same stuff we deal with with some of our clients. It's like
you could just wait before you start talking.
I know, my bad. Oh yeah,
but you know what? I could take that money and I could put it into a oneword.com, which I think has broader utility, more of an empty vessel. And so, and there's deals coming. So I just figured I would.
It makes sense.
Turn that name.
And I think there's something to be said for you being willing to throw it out here in this, in this environment, like in this call, specifically knowing Drew is going to get after you.
No, look, here's the deal. Here's the way that I think about this, because I talk all this shit, but the reality is, I'm notorious for taking a deal that is undervalued just because I feel like I can better invest the money at that point in time. So totally understand. I do feel strongly about this one because the underlying rule that I have about turning names is basically like, if I feel that I can buy an equivalent or better name in the market, then it makes sense to turn it if there's enough margin to reinvest. The problem I have here is that to get a name like COA, like you can't just say like, oh, 3letter.coms are going for like 15 to 25 grand right now in the market, like, which is cheap. Good ones, decent ones you can get for 30, 35.
Yeah.
But not COA. You can't not get a COA.com in the market right now for that price. You will pay 60 plus and it's hard to find them. The really good ones, because I'm a really active buyer of three-letter.coms. I like good, high quality three-letter.coms. I love them. We've got, a lot of them, and it is incredibly difficult. Like I'm getting sent 10, 15, 20 three-letter.coms every day from various, guys that are dealing in that market. And, I just literally bought one last week. That's an amazing, I'm not going to say the name because it turns out it was stolen. So we're dealing with getting that back now, and it's a whole complicated mess. But that was the first one in months that has hit my desk at a good price. And
stolen goods do get a
stolen.
good price. You can get a good name for it.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that cheap. It was $35,000. But even at $35,000, I was like, that just seems too cheap for this name, because it is like a COA. It's a really good three-letter combo. So, anyways, that's just my thoughts. I 100% understand where you're coming from, and I don't disagree with your logic, but I think that you may be miscalculating your ability to replace. Now, maybe you don't want to replace COA with a three-letter. Maybe you want to just take that and roll it into a one word. God bless. But what I'm saying is, if I'm going to turn a name, I'm generally looking at, can I get a similar or better name, with enough margin that it makes sense. So, pretty much like this, a 3, 4, 5x minimum. Then, I will generally do it. But I don't think that you can replace this one with a comparable or better three-letter with a sufficient margin that it would have made sense.
You're probably right, but my sweet spot is just the one-word.coms. I see them as empty vessels. I see them have more utility. Like COA, you have to sell it to somebody that either is using those letters right in their company name, or they want, like in the case of COA, certificate of authenticity, right? So it represents something. But short of that, it's not an empty vessel, right? It has to represent something versus, I don't know, Socrates.com, for example. I got an offer 5 times what I paid 6 months after buying it. I turned it down. We're talking about a mid to high 6-figure offer. And I think
that's a great name.
Right?
Socrates. Oh.
Right. So Socrates to me it is an empty vessel. Like that can be used for all kinds of shit. Right. And that has more utility than COF for me, in my opinion. Right. And I look, some people, I know you like 3 letters. There's a lot of guys out there that love the 3 L's. I like them. I've got a pile of them, but I don't have 100. Like I've got a dozen. Right. Just because, and most of them are patterns because they're more memorable. But, I just prefer oneword.com. Everybody's got their thing, and you got to stick to what you know and what you like.
Yep.
What do you, since I have you guys, what do you think about Travis and I have RUZ? It's a terrible acronym, but it's a brandable 3-letter. Like, where do those fit in? Like, that's
they're in no man's land. It's like
I know that's what I'm saying.
It's hard. It's hard. Like we've got Ziz.com. And it's funny, I mean, we have ZLZ.com as well. So we just to basically cover the typo angle. But and Ziz is like a mythical creature in the Jewish religion. It's like the phoenix. It rises from the ashes. It's a big mystical, bird. That name has 0 inquiries, 0 traffic. Just nobody cares. I've always thought, oh wow, what a great brand, but nobody cares. Nobody cares. Yeah.
Yeah, we're always. I mean, again.
But I mean, until the day when somebody says, "I'm going to be called Ziz," I'm going to be called Ruz, I'm going to be called, and then you're great.
Yeah. But they do go cheap, is because they're in no man's land, they literally sit at the bottom, like because people look at them as an acronym, and the price we paid is. There's no way we won't. We could sell it right now as a 3-letter, just get out of the wholesale market, but. To me, there's value on those kind of names because nobody knows what to do with them.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is sell one to pay for them.
I like 3letter.coms, and I buy them readily just because of that store of value effect that we were talking about earlier.
It is.
It's like if you're buying good 3 letters, your downside is pretty limited and your upside is basically unlimited. And
like all of mine, I bought most of them in like 2014, 2015, 2016. And they are all worth wholesale more than I paid. So I've done
100%.
I've done fine. And I've got some good ones. Like I got R&R. Can't go wrong with that.
Oh yeah, I used to own that.
Did you?
I was gonna say we were all on that one. It was on. I can't remember what newsletter it was at one time, but it came through and
but
it went.
I mean, for what I paid,
I think it was Rick Latona's.
Yeah, it went quick.
I mean, I think you can look up what I paid. I'm not going to say it, but it's like
no. We all were like, by the time 2 minutes in, it was like
30 grand or 25. So it was cheap. You know, I mean, look, the first three-letter.com I ever bought was from Rick Latona also, and it was jah.com, JAH, jah.com, which is, you know, the Rastafarian god. I'm a big reggae fan. I was like, I'm gonna get jah.com, and you know, I paid $15,000 for that, and that was like 2008, and you know, that was double the market. The market was around 7 or 8 for a three-letter.com, and you know, I was like, all right, I'm gonna pay 15. This is a word. It's got a meaning. You know, it's symbolism, and it's another one though. It's just zero fucking inquiries or interest, but you know, I could sell that at wholesale and triple my money today, right? So it's like over a 15-year period, that thing's up 300%. You know, liquid drop of the hat. I
mean, the worst 3L I have, which I bought in 2015, is MQO, which is not good, but I paid $9 grand.
Yeah.
So
you can double your money right now. That's a drop of a hat.
Right.
It's just these are great stores of value. You know what I mean? That's what you want in a store of value.
Cedo seems to drop. I mean, they've been, I don't know why Cedo, but Cedo 3 letters seem to really get some decent ones at the low end of that accumulation. Like they're not great names, but they're 17,000 and 18,000 and and we paid for all ours. We did NIQ, excuse me, and it was low 20s, and we flipped it the next year for over 200,000. Like, because of the IQ.
You got lucky on that one though. That one was luck.
But IQ names, to me, is not like IQ at the end of things is.
Yeah, we've got a couple of them. We've got FIQ, which is like financial IQ. We've got
IQ is the key.
PIQ.
And everybody gets lucky when you have.
We've also got EI. We've got EIQ, which is like you know, emotional intelligence.
And let's be honest here. When someone comes in a big company and buys your name, it's all luck. It's not like you went out. I mean, I should say that
we've also got do it. We've got AIQ. We've got AIQ, which is artificial intelligence.
That's probably your strongest of the group. AIQ, no doubt.
Yeah.
I'll give you 22,000 for it right now.
But yeah,
22,333.
There's a lot of good stuff there, a lot of good nuggets. I think that but it is interesting watching the continued appreciation of, you know, these domains as an asset class, you know, and how I think that about the 3 characters, those are extremely interesting to me. I always think back to the I think it was QNB.com sold for maybe it was $2 million, maybe about
Qatar National Bank,
and it was the Qatar National Bank. Yeah, the Qatar National Bank, and you know, and that's one that I think to me always represents kind of when you've watched the process of that domain. That name sold several times from an investor standpoint until it reached the sort of final stage end user, best case end user that scooped it up, you know, and paid the proper end user price, right? And that is an example of a domain that to me kind of went through its natural sort of life cycle until it found its.
But the beauty is somebody said no all the way up to 2 million. That's what I love. If somebody said no all the way through $1 million and said, no, I'm not interested in $1 million for that name, which we all know is worth it. Like that's a number that's really hard to keep saying no to. 1.5 million. No, thank you. 1.7 million. Nah, why don't you come back with a real number, bro?
But that's a number. That's a number you can only say no to in a bull market.
Yeah, I mean,
sure. Well, but I think then everyone's got their sort of, you know, the variables and the motivations and the things that, you know, cause them. Just like Braden just sold the name that he sold for 140. That when that name sells for $800,000 in 2 years, it's going to be like, hey, like, but did he undersell? No, because probably with the money that he's going to take in the meantime and go and buy oneword.com, that's going to maybe make him double that. I mean, I think it's, everyone's got choices to make, and I think
there's a lot of good and bad that come from the word no. It can work in all ways.
Yeah. And same with the word yes. And all right. So with that, Drew, what do you got? You got a buy or a sell? We've got currently, I got a point. Braden's got a point. I'm very likely not going to be able to participate in this one. So this might be the one that this might push Braden to the win.
I got a sale. Which
domain is it?
Cockatoo.com.
Oh man.
You've had that.
So cockatoo.com.
Do you get that? You guys that flew right over the thing. He's had a couple of those, a cockatoo.
Oh, there you go. See, that's why before when I said below me, and he's like, "Oh, you said below me." It's like, hey man, I don't know why you that says more about you than me, bruh. So all love though.
Cockatoo. Oh man.
Are we gonna get canceled? Did we just get canceled?
We're just talking birds.
Did we just get canceled? That's crazy. Did we just become best friends? No. Okay. I can't participate on this one. Shane, it's just you and Braden. Let's see. Are we gonna have a game winner right here? Let's see what you got. Cockatoo.com. Cockatoo me. Boom. Ooh, okay. There's a spread.
Shane, this was a sale, right?
So Shane with $8,800.
I knew. Why don't you can just give me the point. We can move on.
Braden with 85,000.
No, because it could be under 40. If it's under 40,000, I win.
That's true.
All right.
Yeah, so, but you didn't win. It was 100. It was 150,000.
Oh, it's a good sale.
So
it's a good sale. I know.
Yeah.
What I 80.
That's a good sale. I went a little low just because cockatoo is a weird kind of word, and who can spell it?
Well, it's got cock in it, and that's a tough name in a brand.
That's what she said.
Seriously. I'm dead serious.
Thank you.
There's more.
Right?
Hey, we can or we can't. I don't know. We're trying to get ratings.
That's a branding issue. No doubt about it. You got to put birds all over that logo.
No, it isn't. It isn't. Look, we're in a much more progressive society, but I think more importantly, it's a bird, man. It's only for people who.
Oh, but you can't tell me half the people. Oh, I bet so, or like.
And maybe that's part of the appeal.
Sometimes that edginess is actually
that is true.
A feature, not a flaw.
Feature, not a bug. Exactly.
That is a marketing genius right there. Like we want that.
What was your guess, Shane? With $8,800?
88,000.
You guessed 8,800.
No, you said 8,800.
He said no, 8,800. I think is what Shane said. So basically, Shane thought that Drew got suckered by one of these. Like, hey, I'm a nonprofit student organization with no budget, trying to get this domain. Can you please help us?
Mm-hmm.
But
and I guessed 85,000.
We're in the business of making money over here. We're in the business of making money, Shane, not giving it away.
As he drinks a $7 Starbucks.
It's just the cup. I just reused the cup. This is what I just did.
We're in the process of making money.
I just poured this. I poured this into this.
You know how like domainers just have this bad rap and people like just come in all hot and heated. Well, now those nonprofits and students, they got a bad rap in my book. And when they email me, I'm just like, tell someone who cares. That's it. That's the reply. That's what I tell them. Tell them someone who cares.
It's really because
I did once have someone that claimed nonprofit, and I was like, prove it. And he was legit. And I've done several deals. We just talked about one a few weeks ago. They are occasionally legit. He had a 501c3, and he said, look, all the other vendors that are helping me with this, they've all cut their price in half. I was like, I will cut my price in half if you prove to me that you're a 501c3. And he did. I cut my price in half.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, look, if it's legitimate, it's one thing. The joke that we make is that because, you get these people fishing for domain deals, making up a story about what their deal is when really they're representing some big, Fortune 500 company trying to buy your domain. And or just otherwise are not who they say they are. But
I did one. I'm a lifetime member now of the Society for Conservative Biology, and it's like conservation of biological diversity. And That guy, he was really, really cool. Really cool. He got it. He was like, yep, I understand. You get told this all the time, blah, blah, blah. But he walked me through the whole thing. And I was like, oh, you got to saving animals? I like animals. If you were saving people, I wouldn't do a deal. But saving animals, let's go.
And you can always do a payment plan and make them prove it out. Like if you don't need the money, say, let's just do it over 3 years. And if you're going to flip the name, you're going to be waiting 3 years to do it. I always give the line, you're trying to make me into a nonprofit, it sounds like.
That's good. I like that.
I like that.
You might have to add that to the list. It might have to get added into your AKA list.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what's up. Braden with the big win. Some swag will be headed your way at some point in the not too distant future. You know what I'm saying? Since you don't age, it's not going to matter. That's the thing. No matter when I send it, even if it's 10 years from now, you'll still be able to rock the hoodie, man. See, you know what I'm saying? That's it. That's it. All right. So I may not be able to deliver on the promise, but I will compliment you and hope that at least helps to soften the blow. All right, that's the end of the domain game. Real quick, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with NameJetGonnaJet here on DomainSherpa, where all roads lead to domains.
MediaOptions is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, MediaOptions offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. MediaOptions believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
What's up? Welcome back, everybody. We're here on DomainSherpa, where all roads lead to domains. We just wrapped up the domain game where my boy Braden P took home the trophy. Super exciting. Gave his acceptance speech. It was not unlike the Grammys. Shout out to Beyonce. Although shout out to Harry Styles. You know, what do you mean, you people?
What a man.
And you know, so I won't go down that
another topic I just don't care about.
See, come on, man. We pop culture. I didn't watch. I just read an article. I didn't even read an article. I read a headline. You know what I'm saying? I read half an article. So therefore, I'm an expert these days.
You'll never get that moment back in your life.
All right. Well, we got a big old list. All right, let's go. This is the NameJetGonnaJet segment, and sponsored by NameJet. And this is where we are going to look at a bunch of names that are coming up for auction on NameJet, see what the Sherpas like, what they don't like. There's a list of about 18 domains. If you go to DomainSherpa.com and you go to the post for this particular episode, you can actually pull the Excel spreadsheet where we have the list of names, the Esteban appraisals. Take those with a grain of salt. How many back orders as of the day that we taped the show? How many days left in the back order period as of the day the show airs? Keep in mind, these are all expiring domains. In order to participate in these auctions, you need to have a back order in before the end of the back order deadline. So in order to participate, get your back orders in. NameJet is a sponsor of the show, but we get no affiliate benefit or anything if you participate in any of these auctions. In fact, in some ways, you're probably going to end up competing with some of us in some of these auctions. So it's actually even more to our detriment, but we're here to help. You know what I'm saying?
You're definitely competing with us.
So with that, let's go ahead. So we got the list. Drew, let's start with you down at the bottom.
I'm looking for the list. Where's the list?
I resent it this morning because we had to shift the air date. Originally, this was going to air a week later, but then we pulled the show up a bit because we're going to push the Off the Market Forever, which is going to air after the Super Bowl, even though I'm on there talking about the Super Bowl. Let's hope that the Eagles win. If not, I don't know if we'll be able to air it. You know, I'm so nervous, man. You know, like it's Chiefs are no joke, man.
How's that make you feel about yourself?
What do you mean? That I'm so invested?
A bunch of grown-ass men playing a game that they got a stake in.
And then I don't.
You're all nervous. You're all nervous about it. No, you got no stake in it.
He's got 200 grand on the Eagles at -1.5. What are you talking about?
Exactly. No, you know, my kids, we're fans, man. We watch the game together. It's something we do. We vibe. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it brings us along.
All right.
With, you know,
all right. Hey, listen.
City of Philly, you know, like I've been an Eagles fan since I was a little kid. It's what I know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? America. You know,
my daughter's going to the stadium to watch the game. She's going to go sit in the stadium, in Philadelphia.
Dude, okay, yeah. Because she's over in Jersey. Yeah.
She's in Jersey.
It's going to be crazy.
Dirty Jers.
Hopefully they win, man. It's going to be a tough one though. Chiefs are.
I don't know if Princeton's quite dirty Jers.
No, it's sort of like it's the opposite.
No, I don't feel it. I didn't feel the dirty or the Jers. Really,
it really is. It's almost like it's a whole different world. You're like, wait, we're in New Jersey. Although there are some really beautiful parts of New Jersey, but the
Absolutely.
but anyway, all right. Well, let's go, Drew. So
speaking of beautiful parts, Drew, do you like any beautiful names here?
There we go. That was good. Good segue.
I can't get my.
All right. So then, who has the list?
All right, I got you. I got the list. I just don't have my. All right. I think that direct sales is probably my favorite.
Okay. And why?
Well, because it's a big business, and there's a million companies around direct sales marketing, direct sales this, direct sales. So I like that name. Double your money. Great call to action, sort of great phrase. It's a marketing name. It's likely not to be, but you could imagine, very this viral little like a chat roulette type. It's double your money. It's like click here and make a penny bet. You know what I mean? Like just that little
double your money. Yeah.
Little Web3 gambling addiction degenerate thing that could do well.
All right.
And then I like. Let's see. What do I got? One more.
You can do two more.
All right. I'll go norush.com. Although it sounds, I don't know. No rush. Like, I don't know actually what the commercial application is.
No rush, man. No rush.
Yeah, but everybody usually wants you to rush. You know what I'm saying? Like, people pay extra for the rushing, not for.
I know. I think Amar's going to buy that and put it up on the shelf right next to Good Vibes Only.
Yeah, I think that one's an interesting one because it is. It's like, hey, no rush, no rush. We say it all the time, that kind of thing. But we are always rushing. And what is the actual like?
Well, I just thought about an application for this. It's kind of interesting. So,
like calm.com.
I think actually all of us are very opportunistic buyers, right? We're not necessarily in a rush to go buy any particular name. We like to buy great names at great prices when they land on our desk, and that applies, at least for me, to many things. I like to buy basically anything. I like to buy the gemstones, but it's like you go out in that market and people start, buy this stuff, and you're like, whoa, simmer the fuck down. It's like, I'm not in a rush. Let me know when you got something that's like a steal. You know what I mean? When everybody, people are begging for money. That then come to me.
Yeah.
Then but like houses. And I've always wanted to have a site where you could just sort of express your interest. Like when when your life gets fucked up and you need money, I'm here. You know what I mean? I just want to put my hat in the ring. You know what I mean? Like no rush.
They already have that. It says
.com.
buy houses cheap. That's what the sign on the corner. That's what that is.
Yeah, but that you have to be there at that moment. I'm talking about like, we went on vacation to Hawaii and there was this cute little house up on the hill. And it's like, you go on, it's like a Zillow type application and you're like, just tag that house. And you're like, look,
it's
I
called,
got 5 on it.
Have you ever seen
I got
Make
5
Me
on it.
Move?
When you're ready, I got 5 on it.
Yeah.
Zillow does a great job with Make Me Move. I have 2 people that sold their house that way.
Really?
So you just make an offer. Yeah, Zillow has Make Me Move. You make them an offer on their house and it sits there. And if they want to take it, they can take it and move.
Yeah.
And
how do they get notified? They have to opt into that?
You have to sign up for Zillow, but once you've signed up, you get notices and people make offers all the time. I mean, when I say all the time,
I didn't even know about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, during the big, during this past bull market, here in Florida where so many people were trying to move and, people were putting offers in people's mailboxes all the time. I mean, there were a lot of people who that's how they got their house out by the beach was just simply doing that, and it was like.
Yeah, it's just that's hard to scale, right? So like, I'm talking about like just everything, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you've got some
like Zillow will be like OpenSea. Drew will be on Zillow like OpenSea, who's made a whole collection offer.
Exactly.
Drew's made an offer on everything in the first 2 blocks of Tampa off the beach.
Exactly.
Anybody can take it, whatever you want. It's yours.
I love it. But no, but I think that's interesting, But I also, I like what bless you, Braden. What Braden said too. The the idea of like a meditation, calm kind of thing. No rush. The idea that take a breath.
Could be like a private equity venture capital fund too. Like no rush. Long term capital.
Maybe. I like the
Rush. Anyways,
It could be that
and
one.
then and then there's
last one.
I don't know. City Cat. I mean, like balloon flowers.
Ooh,
Like that's
stop,
pretty
stop.
worthless
Okay,
to
now you're
me.
saying too many.
No, I'm talking about negative ones.
Oh, negative ones.
I was trying to do 3 I liked and a couple I don't like.
Well, but then you're just gonna go over the allotment, So
All right, okay.
So that's all
People
I'm saying.
get value when we point out the things we don't like.
Yes.
Well.
Okay. Give one that you don't like. Give one that you don't like, or that you think might go for more than you're willing to spend.
Inclusive. No way.
Oh, I'm not going to go there. I'm just not going to go. But yeah, I mean, I hate balloonflowers.com.
Oh, all right. Well, this is a good segue to Shane because I put that in there for Shane because
you're talking platycodon here. That platycodon is the actual botanical name for balloon flower.
That's actually a thing.
You talking trash on platycodon, son?
Come on, you're talking platycodon. So actually, I think where they're heading is the balloon flowers you get for like gifts and where people make the balloon decorations, the edible, not the edible, but
I know what you mean. Yeah, like as if it's like a chocolate rose or something.
Yeah, they send balloon flowers. They make balloons and
a balloon bouquet.
Blue, there you go.
And so nobody I guess that's the question.
Nobody can spell bouquet, so you go balloon flowers.
There you go. Are there flowers that are like balloon flowers? Like, is that
when in doubt, dumb it down?
Oh yeah, balloon flowers is platycodon. It's like a purple or pink, and when it's during the open stage, you can pop it. It makes a popping sound. My daughter, the problem is when you pop them too soon, they don't open very well. So my daughter would just walk around the nursery popping all the balloon flowers because they made such a cool sound and ruining all the plants.
Yeah, you got to send her the bill. Send her the bill. You know what I mean?
But that would not sell in that one. It's not that popular plant.
We went for a walk last weekend in the forest. Fun fact: Lisbon has the largest urban park in the world, and it's called Monsanto, like the horrible company that got sold to Bayer, spreads glyphosate all over the world. Anyways,
a great
Monsanto. We're hiking through the forest there, and there was unbelievable. I thought about you, Shane, because I remember you posted something like about how valuable these leaves, and it was the leaves, and it had all the different spots, and it had a certain pattern.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, this one is super unique. And it's going to be worth a lot of money. Dude, I'm telling you, we hit a gold mine of those things. It was exactly those. And it was like, man, you had leaves with every kind of pattern of polka dots. And some of them had like a comet, like it was like a polka dot, but with a tail on it.
Yeah, I love it.
It was wild. Those things were cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, with COVID, of course, made it even more. But plants inside and just collectibles in general. Like we go through phases as a society of what we're collecting, and plants have become indoor plants have been super hot. I mean, I bought a leaf with no roots for $600 the other day, and it hasn't even rooted up yet. So, but I sell that plant that you were talking about. I sell one a month or two a month for $300 a cutting.
Well, I bet you spent more than $600 on leaves in the last week.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, I spent $642 on leaves this week. As a matter of fact,
no roots at all, right?
Not a root in it.
No roots, no seeds.
Stems, no sticks, no seeds.
He was going to return it if it had a stem or a root.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, cool. Platycodon.
Yeah, so that
grandiflorus.
Grandiflora, yeah.
Yeah,
man,
nice.
Right, Braden's on fire. He hit the domain numbers today. He hit my herb number today.
Yeah, you're good.
There you go.
Yeah, he even does all kinds of prices.
And you're getting some swag at some point.
Yeah, let's just cut that out. he said, Billy, did you cut out all the curse words? No, I cut out all the mentions of you giving swag.
Limited liability.
Exactly.
I love it. Let's go.
We can live with the cursing, but we can't live with the lies.
He's like, he said some horribly offensive shit. No, that part was fine. In fact, I actually did a little YouTube short of that. It has 3,000 views, but I got rid of every mention of you actually delivering swag or promising swag in any kind of way.
Exactly.
Like, oh man,
it's better for the company.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Bro.
All right, I'll go next on. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of these. Like, I'm looking at the back order. I'm always interested in back orders because we know some of it on NameJet has to be with like maybe it's come around 72 times because NameJet's very good about bringing names back to auction. But like store manager, I'm just gonna say, to me, I get it. It's just so generic and boring that.
That what I thought was, I almost didn't even include it, right? Because I was like, I personally don't like that name at all. And it's got all these
114 back orders.
Well, right, and it is the top name on the platform currently as far as back orders. And I agree, it's possible it's been there a few times, so it kind of collects those back orders that don't get deleted. But it's like, what's the store manager? I think, okay, this could be obviously like an e-commerce store, right? And if you've got a tool that allows for some sort of store management, inventory management, CRM kind of stuff, maybe could be store manager. But like you said, super generic. I think of the idea of like the person complaining, like, I want to speak to the manager, you know what I mean? And like it sort of gives me that vibe. But I mean,
it's a name that doesn't give you benefit. Like, it's not going to give you an advantage. You might as well go with a Shopify. Like, there's no advantage to that name, in my opinion. Why spend the money on the name?
I remember when somebody bought, it was like supermarket or supermarkets, plural, for like $100,000. I was like, what the hell are you going to do with supermarkets?
It just has to give you some, like,
Kroger's will buy it. That's like, yeah, okay. Good luck with that.
Why does Kroger's not have Krogers.com? Oh, okay. I like this.
Well, who's
this contrarian? Who's this contrarian scratching his goatee and like Dr. Claw? What are you thinking, man?
I think I see store managers like a Shopify plugin. It's going to be something specific as it relates to an e-com platform. Right?
Totally get it. Yep, totally get that. But does that give the name value?
Inventory manager management or something like that. It's going to plug right into your Shopify.
I literally just said that. But then my point is, does that give the name value? Is someone going to spend money on that domain?
I think it does. Look, I mean, everything has its price. If this thing wholesales for $20,000, you'll never make any money on it. But I can see it retail for $20,000 because I think it's a good, catchy name, and it kind of talks about what it does. You manage your store with it.
Yeah, well,
and it doesn't. What it's going to do.
Every domain has the right price, and it's like you said, it's not your domain's not worthless; it's just worth less. So what are you paying for that in auction? Are you paying the Esteban appraisal of $2,250? Like, are you comfortable paying that for this domain?
Yes.
Okay. I think it'll go. I think it'll go for more, probably just based on the number of back orders,
it will too, because everything gets. The problem is, and I've said this before, is that investors are like, I don't need to make 10x. Like, the Sherpas said that, this thing's worth $20,000, so I could pay 15 and I'll make $5,000. No, you won't. It's because it's going to take you 10 years to sell it. And it's just that those numbers don't pencil out, right? Yeah. You need to get close to a 10x or an 8x. And if not, I mean, maybe you could flip it to, wholesale it and put a 30% margin on it. And if you can do it quickly enough, that's fine. But that's not what we do. Like, we buy names and we put them in a pile and we wait.
Yep.
And if you do that with that model, you need roughly a 10x.
Sure.
Otherwise, you're not going to make money.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, no,
unless you're talking about like the low end at the bottom, you need a bigger. Like, if you're selling names for $2,500, you need to get those on the drop, a hand reg.
Of course, yeah.
You need 100x because the sell through is super low. It's 1% a year if you know what you're doing. If you're buying good names, and if you're not buying good names, it's under that, which means it's going to take you 20 or 30 years to sell a name. You'll never make any money.
Preach. I mean, it's no lies detected. Hold on, Lindsay. Lie detector. No lies detected. All right, what you got, Shane? You got any other names in here that you either like or don't like?
Covered. I mean, direct sales is my favorite by far.
Okay.
I think a fun one that would be an easy build out with the right script is odd news. Like, odd news is like a weird news kind of thing. And,
Sure,
and honestly,
yeah.
there's that was popular, but it's kind of fallen out. But I think it's a play again is to write a script and bring out the crazy ass stuff that happens. And
Well, I think the problem is that the real news is weird, is just as weird as the odd news ever was, and everybody is so, in conspiracy theories.
Not to get off the track,
down.
but how about the dude that left the fish on the Goonies house that got caught in the middle of the bay at Seattle? Is one of the funniest.
Wait, what
crazy-
A
happened?
stolen yacht.
Wait. The words y'all said just right there in that order did not make any sense to me. What?
So this guy got in trouble. Let's start this thing. A guy got in trouble, left a big dead fish at Seaside, Oregon, which is the end of Hood to Coast, by the way, and left the dead fish on a house that was used to film Goonies.
Love it.
So he got in trouble. They sent out a notice for his arrest for doing shitty things. Then all of a sudden,
wait, hold on. All this is about because he caught a fish and left it dead?
He left it at nobody knows why. Left it on the porch. All big problems. That's a side note.
How do they even know who it was? They have a ring or something?
Okay,
It's
so
a Sicilian message. It
Yeah,
means
so-
he
Okay,
sleeps with the
said
fishes.
sleeps with the fishes. Okay, he says Chunk sleeps with the
so
fishes.
like a week later, out in the middle of the bay where the Columbia River comes out to the ocean is really turbulent. Matter of fact, it like some people windsurf on the Columbia because there's just the water moves so well and the wind combination. But anyway, this yacht gets caught in it and gets capsized in a wave. So they have to bring in the Coast Guard and drop a guy in there to save him.
The guy's in the water.
The guy's in the water.
Guy fell off the yacht.
Off the yacht in the middle of the most turbulent area on the coast, honestly, where the Columbia comes out. And then they found out the yacht is stolen. And then the guy is the guy that left the fish.
No.
I love everything about this story. I feel like right now, all you just did was pitch me
I
a
didn't hear
pilot of a
anything about it.
Netflix show that is now my new shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm in. I couldn't be more in.
Can't make any of this up. Like this is what you said about odd news. The news is so good. You can't even write a good story anymore. All I have to do is pay attention.
Yeah. Well, what did it turn out? Like, what was his deal with the Goonies situation? Like, why did he
No,
leave the fish?
Wait, that's to be determined. That's what we're all waiting for.
I need
That's
to
why
know
we got
I need to watch the
I got
next
the-
episode.
I have the news on. It has nothing to do with the Fed. It's to hear the Goonies result.
Well, I think that's the challenge, is like, I also think it's a question of where you get your news, and I think everybody nowadays digests their stuff differently. There's no news on television that for me gives me any sort of like benefit. I watch ESPN. I can't watch any of the CNN, Fox News, any of that kind of stuff. Like, it's also, all that stuff is punditry and opinionated. They're trying to tell you, how to think about things that are happening and all the political nonsense. Where do you even get good news nowadays? Like, like you subscribe to feeds and things, and that's really where everybody. That's right.
Yeah, you just have to. You have to filter through it. Honestly.
Yeah, it's like
Who's
curation.
saying
So
it
like,
when they say, that's, and I've said this on Twitter and in public speeches quite a bit. The world right now, the most valuable people are the people you trust to curate for you. Like, to find the person that you trust the most that goes through all that stuff for you and then brings it out. Like, I use this. There's a cyclist. This is a stupid story, but it really represents it well. He would try out gear. So he would wear the latest watch or do the latest bicycle, and he would buy all of it himself and test it out. And when he did a review and said something, it was right. Like, if it was the best watch, it always came out right. And so it got to the point where he was so well trusted that everybody sent him gear beforehand to see if it was good or not. And then we all, whatever he says, we buy. And that's what you're looking for in every category, whether it's news or whatever department or whatever thing you're looking for somebody. And that's where influencers are so important. If they can be real influencers in the fact that they give honest opinion and they do their research and the results are pretty close to what they say, it's such a valuable tool. The problem is there's shitty influencers too that just get paid to say things. So.
Oh yeah, and people gaming the system, fake reviews, all that kind of stuff. But I think you nail a couple of really, really key points. Trust and curation are so important, almost in so many aspects of our life that we don't even realize, right? And I think that we will continue to see real value placed on the folks that can provide the curation around these things. We talk about it with regards to domains and digital assets all the time, obviously. Our DNX platform, like stuff like that, like, the idea of trying to curate the best of the best, or, whatever the categories or classifications are. And then the idea of curation having value is really based on trust and demand, right? If it's something where there's demand, then as long as you have a source of trust that can be providing those services, there's a real opportunity there. And yeah,
and that's why
really
Domain Sherpa. I mean, and I'm not tooting our own horn, but
toot it, baby, toot it.
We say it open and honest, and we're not here to really sell anything but ourselves and to say this is what we do. And so people, when we answer a question or give our opinion on these names, all the experience on this panel is legit, and we don't have any reason to say anything but the truth on it. Like, we have no vested interest in it. So I think that this and things like this are as valuable as you get in today's, and it's only going to get more valuable as more data, more product, and more bullshit influencers that are only getting paid. So I think it's super valuable, this kind of stuff.
Well, it's actually a disservice to us, because we talk about names that we like that we're bidding on. And
I was just going to say, like, you know,
it actually is.
I say it all the time. I mean, I talk to people and they're like, why do you guys give out all that info? You know, and it sounds like I'm like, why do we give out this info? You know, like, well, let me tell you, it's because, you know, but it really is like, it's crazy because you think about, you're actually saying, hey, let me help you compete with me. But there is some value in the rising tide and trying to expand the tent and all those kinds of things. And I think that, you know, and for us,
we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
We're doing all right, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, and it does lead to more emails and DMs, and then you tell them you do this again, where they give you their names, and you go, I just don't see the value, and they're like, you don't know, and I'm like,
nobody contacts me anymore. Nobody.
Oh, they contact. It's like, well, so I have a similar situation at my own house, right? Because like,
I don't say that begrudgingly. I'm quite happy. It took me like a decade of, you know,
no, they contact me, you know what I'm saying? Or they contact Chris, and they're
going through a swinging door, not a locked one.
Well, because
they're looking for the low-hanging fruit.
Like they're trying to get somebody to respond. And but we have a similar situation at my house. Like, so you know, so my wife is the one who answers, even like my family, you can ask Billy, and you know, like, you know, they ping Liz because she actually will respond to their texts, where like, not just my actual like family, but like there's plenty of people that I just don't respond to, and then they go to her.
I mean, I text his wife constantly. It works perfect.
Oh, that's messed up, man. You know what? Billy, scratch this shit, because this is about to go down. It's going down. You can't, those are fighting words, Shane. But I'm just saying, it's kind of like the
I don't contact your wife. I want you to know. She's always blowing up my phone, but I don't ever contact her.
Like, I don't even know. I'm just trying to share. You know, my therapist and my life coach says to share more. I share, and this is what I get. This is why I don't share, Susan. This is why I don't share. But yeah, you know, it's like, and Drew does the same shit, where he's like, he doesn't, or like what it is he's just so mean to people that contact him. He's like,
I get texts all the time. I shit you not. Hey, I sent Drew a thing, and he hasn't got me back about brokering it. And I'm like, if it was a good name, he'd get back to you.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what it is. It's like, he's just not that into you. You know what I'm saying? It's literally that shit, because it's like, it's, you know, it's very rare that homeboy doesn't see your message. You know, he sees you. He sees you.
I don't even have junk mail. I don't have junk mail. Everything comes to my inbox.
It's like, he sees it. It's like, just be thankful if he's not responding. Be thankful that
I will say, Drew, but by saying no, thank you, 10% of it leads to an endless amount of more text, because they think they got an open door.
That's the problem. It's like, you try to be like, hey,
that's the problem.
But I will say that there are another 10%, the other scale, that have a skill set that it has come in so much value to things I need. Like,
look, I think this is a really interesting point about just communication in general, right? Because it's like, we all want to be more responsive. You don't want people to think you're ignoring them. You don't want people to feel ignored.
Oh, be careful with that royal we. I am not looking to be.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm talking about. I'm talking about reasonable human beings. I'm talking about nice people.
I'm on a life mission to be less responsive.
But I'm just saying, because, you know, you feel like you want people to at least, but the challenge you have, it's like people take advantage, and like when you respond back, and then it turns into, well, what do they think it's worth? How much is this? What about that? Why do you think this? And like, it turns into where it's like, hey, look, like, I mean, I
got an email a couple days ago from a guy who's emailed me many times. I even bought a name from him once. And mostly he asked me my opinion about stuff, which is fine. And I respond. So he sends me an email asking me a question about a particular name that he bought and a name that I was bidding on an auction that he also bought. And he asked me my opinion, and I took some time out of my day. I did a little research. I looked up the stats, and I gave him my opinion, which it was a little above and beyond, honestly, because, do your own research. I'm not doing research for people, but I looked it up. I gave him my opinion, and he got pissy and bitched me out. And I'm like, what the, I'm giving you free advice. I took time out of my day. You don't have to take my advice. You don't have to like my advice. I don't care. But if you don't want it, don't ask me for it. Right. And then he blows me up. And so, and then I don't want to call him out. So I'm going to censor myself.
Call him out.
But I was
call him out.
Call him out.
Listen, if you don't get punitive, people don't learn. That's why punitive damages exist. You have to be punitive in order to cause people to change their attitude.
Anyways, he was disrespected, and when I was like, look, that's not my intention. Maybe I communicated wrong, or maybe you're having a bad day. I don't know, but be well. And ultimately, he did email me and apologize, but it was still it makes me not want to take my time and respond to people and just.
This is why y'all can't have nice things.
And this is, and that's what this is what I was going to get into. It's it's unfair because it kind of ruins it for a lot of people. We make ourselves very available for everybody. We're, and in an effort to try to help folks in the space and all that, especially people who, need help in navigating some of this. And, but it's but everybody's, people
here's
have
one
stuff.
thing that I'll ask before I even respond. I'll go, do you like, love, or are you in love with the domain? Just ask them that question. Do you like it?
Good.
Do you love it? Or are you in love with it? And then if they say in love with it, I don't even answer.
You're you asking that random question. You're like, oh, you responded to that?
It's just a good question. That gives you a lot of information on what they feel about that domain. A lot of time, almost every time it comes back, what do you mean?
I got this one right here where it's like, hey, could you ask Shane to do the next show shirtless? Oh, no, sorry. Those are different types of requests.
No. Tell Jen to just call me.
Oh, man. That's on every level. I don't know. I don't even know how to respond to that. But yeah, look, I think, we'll deal with communication, just dealing with people, respect.
Yeah.
We try to show respect. We ask for the same in return and respect people's time and their expertise and, their willingness to share, and just know that that's what it is, and so.
Yeah.
So that's what's
part of the reason, that I do this show is that you can basically provide that advice, provide that information, those insights at scale, so that I don't have to spend the one-on-one, answering questions from every person who has them. I enjoy helping people to up their game. I enjoy educating people about things that I'm really passionate about. But I don't like nitpicky people just who feel entitled.
That's the thing. The entitlement to me is crazy. People that just feel entitled to just your time, your energy, you know what I'm saying? And it's respect mine. I'm not trying to take from you. You're trying to take from me. It's I don't know you, and but we do put ourselves out there.
We get no benefit, especially if somebody's emailing us independently and we take our time to respond. We get no benefit from that. We're just providing advice based on our experience. If you don't like it, fine, but don't get all pissy.
Don't get pissy, random internet user. And no, I feel you. And so that's what it is, man. So that's good. I'm glad we had our opportunity to vent.
But feel free to keep sending samples of what if you make something. Feel free to send samples.
Well, I'll tell you though, and also, hey, if you want us to talk about your name, if you have a name you want us to talk about on the show, hit me up. Send it along. We're happy to talk about names. We don't have to just talk about NameJet names. I'm also happy if somebody wants to say, hey, I got, I don't want to review an entire portfolio, but if you got a name or two that you want us to talk about, we're happy to do it. So, just be prepared that if you send something along and ask us to do it, we're going to be, they're going to be honest about it. We're not there is not much of a filter out here. So, and that's part of what y'all are paying for. Anyway. All right. So Braden, you got any other names on the list? We're going to close this out. We got about 5 minutes and then it's a wrap. I think,
I think there's a couple decent MississippiCasinos.com. That's a thing. There's casinos out there, could be a directory
down there.
I just
Were
love
you
the
in
fact that I got
Mexico?
to include a domain that actually has the word Mississippi in it. You know, like MISSIS, MISSISSIPPI. That's like spelling Mississippi's like a thing. Wasn't that like a thing when we were kids?
It's one of the few states that people can spell because of that saying, like MISSISSIPPI.
Yeah.
Can you
So
guys name? Can you still do the little song where you name all 50 states in alphabetical order?
no.
No, I can't.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Indiana, Montana. I don't know. I lost it.
Yeah.
New Mexico. I don't know. I lost it. I used to be able to do that.
I'll have to do that one.
I memorized that.
That's not even a party trick, really, though.
I memorized that shit because that's what we had to write down all 50 states in alphabetical order in order to get out of detention. So if you got into detention, you could get out as soon as you wrote down all 50 states in alphabetical order.
Oh, my younger son would like that. My younger son was just in detention yesterday.
I learned this little song, and it was, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, and boom, it was like, I'm out of here. Just hand that, throw it on the desk, and walk out.
Yo, Drew is Bart Simpson for sure. So, I was just saying, one of my kids was just in detention. He's also my Bart Simpson kid. He, that's his deal. Like, he'd be right on the chalkboard.
Don't knock it, man. You know what I'm
hey,
saying?
Man, I get it. All right, what else you got? Braden?
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah. You're still here. We're still talking.
I was going to tell a story about a party one time, but go ahead.
Okay. I like the one word, inclusive.org. I think it's good on a .org.
Mm-hmm.
It's not super high value, but it's decent.
The problem is they're going to want to give it, like, that's going to be your nonprofit 100% where they're going to talk to you and like, we provide this and that. Why you're charging us?
But it comes down to what you can pay for. If you can get it cheap enough, you can get a decent multiple.
And Mr. Lawyer, can you donate tax wise? What can you do on name? Can you value it at 50,000 and give it?
No, you got to get it's got to be market value. I mean, that's there's a little bit of wiggle room on that.
And who gives you that?
What do you mean?
Braden, give us the truth. See, this
so Braden's got a different take. Okay, go ahead.
You can write off what you paid for it. That's it. There's no more market value. It is what you paid for it. That is all.
See what we learned. This whole show was worth it right there.
I have looked into this
what's the lesson?
Because I used to be able to do that because I used to donate names to nonprofits and they closed that loophole and I'd write off market value and I'd get a letter that was like, $10,000 worth of blah, blah, blah. And you can no longer do that. Now it's what you paid, period.
I don't know if that's true. The gay.com guy, he donated that and he got like a $6 million write-off.
Maybe what he took. That doesn't mean in an audit he wouldn't get hammered. Maybe. But I looked into it. And
you can do anything on your taxes. You can do anything.
Exactly. I wrote off what I'm saying? Like I wrote off all this crazy.
I got a buddy that took a $10 million write-off for a .org. Yeah.
So I called my tax attorney and asked, and I called my CPA, who was an IRS auditor for 16 years, and they both said nope.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, so I think that's an interesting question. So let's leave that. If anybody wants to chime in on that, then my understanding was market value, or at least that was like, to your point, Braden, how long ago, when you say they closed the loophole, how long ago?
I think the last time I looked into it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and the loophole had been closed. But I know that like 10 years ago I was doing it. So at some point,
I was going to say that checks out. I'd be interested to see if we haven't written off any names like that, so I guess it's it hasn't been an issue for us. But if you were to do that with tax time coming up, everybody, I think this is a good question to try to get a little more clarity on. I'm going to take this as a takeaway. And then on the next show that we're all on together, I'm going to bring it back up.
You know how you can donate your car to organizations? It used to be that you could donate your car and take fair market value. And the IRS got wise to that. And so now it's, you donate it, they auction it off, and whatever they auction it off for is your write-off.
That's interesting. So then that's almost like if you were to say, hey, I'm going to go get market value for it right now by way of putting it on the auction block, and then I'm going to give you the cash that I get from that as opposed to giving you the asset itself or something. So, which is a little bit more direct, and that makes sense. I don't know. But you know what? Either way.
I remember, 1-800 7 cars for kids.
You don't know what that is. Yeah, we're all.
Yeah, that was like the big national campaign to donate your cars for the big tax write-off.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
yeah, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to dig into this. I'm going to get some clarity. Let me bring this back up on another show because I think this is one that I'm very curious to find out what the answer is here. I'd like to know this, and admittedly, I don't. And I think if Braden, I no reason to doubt what you're saying, but I think let's find out.
While you're digging into that, look up the value of your time. So I've done acquisitions for nonprofits before, and so what's the value there? Huh. Is my consulting fee worth $10,000? Can I write that off?
Well, you have to be able to show that you're charging. You have to show that you're charging. It's always about consistency. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would actually. You know what? To be honest, that might even be a pretty good. Do a tax episode of Rabbit Hole would be kind of interesting around domains, and some of these other things would be kind of cool. So.
I bet a good way to analyze that is I bet like high profile nonprofits probably use some of these big recruiting agencies that Silicon Valley startups use. And those guys typically are taking a piece of equity or a warrant as a part or all of the commission on the placement. And I bet it's the same there. And I wonder if they get that if they can donate, take that as a donation right off.
Yeah.
I bet there's some case law there.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I don't know.
I think there's a lot of interesting questions there that, I don't know the answer to that I'd like to know. So
like Snoop Dogg says, shout out to my man, Slick Rick. And for y'all that don't like it.
Or as the great Biggie Small, I got lawyers watching lawyers so I don't go broke. All right, well, that's what's up. Any final domains on the list, Braden? So
yes, I like as I was saying, one word, raf.org is another decent name. School software, there might be something there. I sold a lot of, so that's an ERP, enterprise resource planning.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Like, large software. I sold a lot of ERP names back in the day, like, I don't know, 10 years ago plus. So that's what I see when I look at school software. It's a little generic, but I don't know who does school software, Oracle or whomever, and that might have some value as an EMD. And then the other one I like is Wonderful. I just kind of like it as a brand.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody finally said Wonderful. Like for me, I think that's a cool name.
Right. So let me talk about it.
It is an uphill battle, though.
But I dig it. I love that name. The name's a vibe for me.
I do like it. I like it too.
I like it, but it's going to be a long haul.
I want to start a travel company with that domain name. You know what I mean?
Well, you put it low enough that someone gets drunk with friends and they buy it on their credit card after Nick.
Yeah, that's if you could price it under $3,000, you're fine. But it's still
I think you price it at 8 or 9, and still somebody is like.
But I love it. I love Wonderful.
We should form a company.
We talked, I think it might even been the first show I ever did, and it was with you, Shane, the first show I ever hosted. Actually, first time I was ever on DomainSherpa, and with Amanda, and I believe was Wander.com maybe on the list.
Yeah, I think that was it.
And it's just for me such a great, just the vibe of the
feel good name.
It is. It's a really positive, go where you go and explore and experience. And
I didn't say because I'm honestly going to bid on it and hope to get it cheap. Like
not anymore.
I'm telling you, man.
I love I buy a ton of
love that journey.
And I love names
that dream.
Like
that dream just went up in smoke.
I love that. I love that journey.
Thanks for ruining that. Thanks. There goes another hiking name gone.
But all right, well, cool. Look, on that, I think that's a couple of the names on the list. I thought one of them that was kind of interesting too was QYQY.com. It seems Kiki or something. Kiki, kind of like a random
it's a pattern that'll sell. Like it's not like it was obviously 5 years ago or whatever, but the pattern alone, and you see 46 bidders, so it'll go for 1,800 probably.
Yeah, I would say probably even more. I would think $3-4 grand is kind of what I would think for something like that.
It could be.
But that one I thought was just interesting, and but yeah, so
Lottie Dottie, we likes to potty. All right, guys, I got a live one. I got a live one for you that we can do right here.
Oh, let's go.
I I'm not sure I'm going to commit to following your advice, but I will take it. I will take it under very strong consideration.
Don't send me an email bitching me out about my advice.
Yeah, he's good. Exactly.
We've got $105,000 offer for Phil. Sorry, not Phil. Spill.com. Spill.com, like spill the wine.
How would you?
No.
Great song by War.
Too low.
No, way too low. Yeah, because Spill and Drip, two big yield names.
Spill?
Well, yeah, that's what we use. Like right now, Drip is what you want, but when it comes hard, it's Spill. Yeah.
That's what she said.
That's right. Like Drip, I love the word. Drip's my favorite word. Like I love you call it mailbox money, we call it Drip.
Drip, yeah, I love that.
But
drip.
when the mailbox is
like,
full, it's
like fashion. Isn't that also a fashion?
Yeah. So you got that drip. You know what I'm saying? You wet. You got that drip, son.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that name. No. So that name you've had since September, and you're only going to roughly double your money, right?
Mm-hmm.
How am I doing?
Yeah, no, you're on point. So that's the consideration. Here's the thing. I like it. It's a great, easy to spell 5-letter name, but it does have sort of a negative connotation. It's not necessarily, something that comes to mind, when you're trying to brand. But I didn't, So I look at this like I wouldn't sell for 105. All right, I would counter with something, but like, is it worth setting my mind around? Okay, I'm prepared to sell it in that low 6-figure range, or what do you think?
Yes, I think I think 105 is too low, but if you sold it for sub 200, you're probably fine. I mean,
what would you price it at?
$175 probably.
Yeah, I mean, I thought if you added another third to that, it's probably where you'd be, especially if you just got it in September. It makes it real. Triple your money.
But I don't know how you do your taxes. You can pay cap gains on it?
Yeah.
So,
well, no, regular income.
Regular income? Okay. Well, then that's not so bad.
Yeah, but his regular income's in the 9 figures.
Let's go. I wish that was the case.
Yeah,
I wish it was in the 9 figures.
You are not going to get 10x on this or 8x because it is a little bit of a negative, but it is a 5-letter single syllable, which is why I went after a 2. But you paid more than what I thought it was worth.
And now see, you could have doubled your money.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said for
double my money and make it stack.
And
I think to the next one. On to the next one.
But I think that
Jay-Z answered the question.
Yeah. Well.
Jay-Z always has the answers. Double your money and make it stack. On to the next one. On to the next one.
Too bad it wasn't silent G like lasagna.
Silent. Oh, G's moving silence like lasagna. Little Wayne, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. That's a
all right. So consensus is we need 175 to sell this.
Yeah. I think that's
at least put that in the universe and see where it gets you, or try to get somewhere in and around that amount. I think makes a lot more sense.
But you know what? If you got $150 for it, I wouldn't blame you.
Well, they're going to be watching this, so we're pretty much negotiating live for you. So if they don't,
no, he's going to close this deal before this airs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to put it on that. Hey, you got to hold up. Wait a day. Wait another day. Wait another day.
Now the tax answer moves to number 2 behind what did Drew sell it for?
So, all right. Well, good stuff. What you gonna do, Drew? Do we get any further closure before we shut this down?
I'm countering at 175. I'm gonna tell him 175, non-negotiable. Take it or leave it. Don't even reply if you don't want it.
There you go.
Here's a picture of my ass. Look at it if you don't like it.
Yeah, let's go. All right, guys.
How's the rising sun?
We got to do a music episode too. That's the conversation the audience didn't get, was the music combo before the show started, which was also a lot of fun. But
yeah. Which, by the way, I am creating my ultimate sort of power up energizing playlist. The stuff that
Can we
makes you
find it
wanna,
on
like,
Spotify? What do we look for on Spotify?
We're gonna say no. We're gonna save
well,
the playlist.
How do you share it?
We're gonna stop. You can. Oh, you just. I
You just
mean,
make your own playlist on
shut up,
Spotify
sir.
and name it.
and then you can share and post it on Twitter or whatever, and like all that kind of stuff. So, but hey,
All right.
we're not gonna do that right now.
I mean, it's on playlist. It's on Spotify, but I don't know how you like.
I feel like
make
that
it
should be the
public or
topic of
something.
it. We should talk about that on a show and then post it and then let people enjoy.
All right.
So this way we can kind of craft it a little bit on the show.
I can invite collaborators.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm ready for that. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
It's an
Let me get
eclectic.
hold
It's
of
an
that.
eclectic mix, man. You
I'm
got to
gonna blow
really
that
like.
shit
You
up
got a
with air
wide. You got a
supply.
wide
There's gonna
range.
be so much air supply on that when I'm done with it.
I love it. I just love music. I like basically.
Don't be hating on
all
air
music
supply, man.
is-
Hey,
The
you're
only
every
music
woman
I
in the
don't
world to
like
me.
is country music. Country music, just,
What?
this shit was. I don't know what happened.
Even
I was like,
even Morgan Wallen, the Whaler,
No, I'm not a fan.
Tyler.
I'm not really a fan of him, but I do like what is it, Chris Stapleton, and there's a couple of country music artists that I
Everybody
enjoy.
loves Chris Stapleton.
There's no such thing as a good country music artist.
Oh, there's some good country music. What are you talking about? You were talking about Johnny Cash before. You know what I'm saying?
Johnny Cash is folk.
I don't know. You know what? Look, dude, this is gonna spiral into its own
Different
show. You guys are talking about
Johnny
football
Cash
before.
is somewhere between.
Dude, you got to
rock
be
and
more
folk.
inclusive.org.
You know, inclusive.org, baby.
Right.
You do have but hey, for what it's worth, because you get into jazz, reggae, you get across the entire spectrum,
I
even
get
more so
busy.
than I do. You know,
Busy.
and but we'll talk. We're gonna have a whole we're gonna do some music stuff. We're not doing that right now.
I on Sundays I listen to classical music. We just had friends in town and they were like, "What's wrong with you?" We're like listening to classical music at your house in the living room, and then you get in the car and it's like, gangster rap.
All right, let's go. That's what it is, man. That's what it is. It's a true renaissance, man. All right, look. With that, we got to go. This show we've talked for too long. Appreciate everybody who stuck with us this long. And so to everybody on the show, my co-hosts, I want to say thank you, as I do on every show. And then, like I also say on every show, to the audience, thank you for tuning in. Without you, there's no us. Everybody say a little something. Fly, Eagles, fly. Go Birds. Let's hope we can get over the hump for our Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. And we'll otherwise see everybody next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. That's a song you could put on your playlist, man. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory.
Bye, everybody.
Fight, Eagles, fight. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to finish it up. Hit them low, hit them high, and watch our Eagles
Just
fly.
Shut
fly,
it down. I can't cut it. I wish I could.
On the road to victory, EAGLES, Eagles.
I think I vomited in my mouth.